Well, what is the crack, guys? So, come along with myself and TD Dara Calleary as we take a walk through Bleak Woods here in Ballina and discuss all things political in the lead up to Friday the 29th election day here in Ireland. Welcome to beautiful Ballina, as you can see. Give you a real look at where we are today. Down in Bleak, and fortunately enough to be joined by Mr. Dara Calleary. How are you?
Good, Porrick. What's the story?
Nah, not a whole pile now.
We're here. Isn't it just amazing to be in Bleak?
It's
Opposite the quay, right on the River Moy. What a day for it. Thanks for taking the time to chat to me.
I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. Everybody gets politically activated around this time of year, of course, but or in these situations when the election is looming. But I suppose for me anyway, in particular, we started to become a bit more politically activated in Ballina for a number of different reasons. In particular, I suppose, of recent, IPAS centres, immigration have brought a lot of things to the fore, and a lot of people that would have never involved themselves in politics have, which is great, in fairness. To have more people involved and their voices heard, I think is great.
Yeah.
But
I really want that. I think people need to be more involved in whatever politics you want, or maybe not in politics, involved in community, because we have a brilliant town, we have a brilliant county, but we need more people to get involved in making it even more brilliant, without going too far into phrases. And I think what the great thing about town is a lot of people have got involved in community activity in recent years as well, making the community better, got involved in their sports clubs, and that's brilliant, and that's something I'd love to have more time to do, and whenever I move on from politics, which I hope won't be a while yet, I intend to get more involved in community organisations because there's such energy in Ballina.
And you're heavily involved anyway, as it is.
I am, but I get frustrated because I don't have time to get deeply involved, and I'd love to give more time to groups like the festival, like some of the sports clubs. We try and help them all, but I just love to be part of rolling the sleeves up and getting dug in. That's
it's class.
What I'm about. You know?
I'm fortunate enough to be in that kind of position, I suppose, with my professional work and also the community work. We're blessed in Ballina, as you know, especially in regards to sports, in regards to amenities. I don't know is there a town in Ireland, I'm open to correction, but with 12,000 people as a population and the amenities that we have, I think we're very, very fortunate. We're in one of them, one of the natural ones at the moment, and side by side with the river, which has started to be utilised significantly more over the last number of years.
Brilliant. I love to see the dragons, the canoe club, the boat club. I love seeing the boats on the river, especially when they come up to town. I really love to see them in the centre of town as well as at the quay. But I was coming over the bridge there a few weeks ago on a Saturday morning, and the canoe club were out, and it was just amazing. There's a kaleidoscope of colour on the river, and that's what I want. I love the river being much more active and much. The town historically used the river as kind of a trading part, and we built our back to the river. And what I want to see is the town to incorporate the river in part of its daily activities. That's why we're working on a project across the river here over at the quay for a complete regeneration of it, kind of to make it a leisure centre with all of the activity on the river, to have facilities. We don't have a lot of facilities in terms of showers, in terms of,
Oh yeah, a shower wouldn't go amiss.
Like when people are on the river, they should be able to change. And ultimately, I like to see it linking up in a greenway to Enniscrone, and really I have an ambition to have a greenway right around the North Coast Road, coming in from Belmullet, through Port Ireland, Carhaig, in through Ballycastle, the KG Coast Walk, in through Lacken, Killala, Rosserk, incorporating the monasteries of the Moy, in through Bleak and over into the quay and down to Enniscrone. It's kind of my Killala Bay Greenway, with a bit more with Broadhaven Bay as well. And I think we'd blow every other greenway in the place out of it. So the river is, I'm born at the quay, so the river is kind of part of me, and I want to make more of it in terms of the town, but not just for tourists, for ourselves as well, that we all become river kids. We use the river, and that's been fantastic over the last year to see all the new clubs.
It's an incredible resource, in fairness, and like I said, I think we're absolutely blessed to be in Ballina. I think we're blessed to be in North Mayo, and I suppose you have been working tirelessly in the political realm for a number of years at this stage. I think it'd be interesting, especially for the younger voters, for people coming out now for their first vote, the 18, 24-year-olds, to really get an understanding of you as a person. So if we take parties out of it, if we remove the party lines anyway for a few minutes, and just talk to me about Dara Calleary. So why are you involved in politics? What have you done so far? And what are the hopes, what are the ambitions for the next number of years?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I'm actually a very private person. I'm a very private person. So the whole notion of being in the public space is something that I have to work on all the time, because I'm not into publicity, or I like to just focus on work and that. And I've been really fortunate to have been a TD re-elected 4 times, and hopefully the 5th since 2007. I've done a lot of work in that space. I like to think I work hard, but I don't like shouting about it. I let others make that call. You know, as you said, we work with all the groups here, not just in Ballina, but across the county. You know, focused on infrastructure. As I said, I have a really good ambition for the river. Schools, really important. Like, we need the best possible schools, because we have amazing teachers in the area.
Agreed.
We have amazing school communities and school staff. And I've really been focusing on school by school by school, getting the best possible facilities. So St Mary's, we have one of the best school buildings in the country.
Oh, it's incredible.
Bar none.
It is incredible.
And we've got some of the best staff. Landed a big project for St Muredex there. Want to get my own school up to that standard as well. I'm going to be really focused on that, because education for me is absolutely crucial. Education is the key that unlocks your life.
Yeah.
And everybody should have access to the best possible education at primary, at secondary. And if you want to go on to 3rd level, you should get access to 3rd level. But I really want people to, you don't have to go to 3rd level. There are so many other options now. Apprenticeships, community college. There's so many options in terms of education that unlock the potential of your life. And we all have it. And I really believe as well, age shouldn't be a barrier. Like, there are a lot of people that, you know, maybe for whatever reason didn't get their career, didn't get their choice when they were 18 or 19, and might be stuck in a rut now. I think we just have to help people find their passion.
Yeah, I think that's
and I think it's something,
tricky space.
Adult education, continuous education, more importantly, re-entering education is something I love and I want to do more with people about as well. So education infrastructure is crucial. It's a great town, it's a great county, but I want more families living here. We don't have enough houses. We don't have enough houses, affordable houses. So, you know, we've increased the targets nationally, and we're very focused on housing. And we haven't had any good, we need more affordable houses in terms of supply in the town, so that families can actually live here, live in houses that are appropriate to the size of their family, as opposed to many families are still in that starter house. There's been none built to move them on. Really focused on how we get money into smaller builders to do that. A lot of the small builders that would have built houses in the town haven't come back since the crash. We've got to get them back up. We've got to get skills back. We've a lot of people with really good skills in all the trades that have gone abroad. Bring them home to get them building the houses we need as well. The more families we have living in town, the more our sporting clubs, our amenities, all of our various community organisations will be helped. Really exciting project here, just on the edge of the woods, will be the new Scout Down. That will be one of the most amazing Scout Downs in the country. And with a base here, right on the edge of the wood, to use this wood, that's the kind of integrated facilities.
Yeah.
So we have the woods, we're going to have the Scout Down, we have the running track, we've all of the work there, we plan our town. This area just can be the heart of the town in terms of activity. Worked with the Stephenites to get new facilities there. We've a lot of work to do there.
There's plenty.
On and off the field.
Morning.
Morning, folks. Hi, good. Sorry. So I'm very focused on infrastructure that helps families, that helps the community. Roads, obviously, roads are important to help families, but they also help jobs. And, you know, we've done IQ Ballina, which I know people are sceptical about, but I think it will, in time, be a really good centre for investment in the middle of town. Because the one thing people are saying, there's not enough people in the middle of town anymore. As we've moved to online shopping, people aren't coming into town.
Yep.
So we've got to get people back in the middle of town, working, also living. When I was growing up, say Pearse Street, where I have my office, there was many people living overhead. So it meant the street was alive at night. Now there's not as many. But if we get people back living in town, I think we can get our town alive again at night.
Yep.
Get families living in town, maybe older people living in town, close to the services. So town generation, not just in Ballina, regeneration, how we do that, how we fund that, and how we get people to come back into town is something I'm going to be really focused on. I know you said we've loads of amenities. I do want young people to see what kind of amenities they want.
I know they want a
rather
skate
than-
park around
that's
here
the
anyway.
skate park. Yeah, I was literally going to mention that. Rather than us thinking we know, I'd love all the TYs in town. I think
yeah.
love all the TYs in town to come together, do a town plan from a TY point
Yeah.
of view.
Well, the answers are in the community, and I think like when you empower community or empower people or groups, that's where the answers come from. You know, in all levels. And I go back to education too. I think it's incredibly important. Of course it is, especially in the areas I work in regards to mental health. We've put a huge focus on the educational piece. Of course, it's the information people need to go forward into the world. As you said, the world has drastically changed since you were knocking around the town in TY or in Leaving Cert. And access to education, financially, especially for third level, I think there's an issue. Yeah, there's a huge financial barrier, and there's a huge financial barrier in accessing professional mental health supports too, outside of the public realm, because sometimes, a lot of the time, the public realm simply can't keep up with the demand, and it isn't answering the questions of people that need services at certain times. So I suppose the question for me is, what does that look like going forward? What changes do we need to make in education and in mental health services that make them accessible to everybody, not under financial duress?
They're linked. I think we need to link the education system on our mental health services and also our disability services much more than at the moment, because they all operate in silos. So education, mental health, disability services, and there's very little communication or coordination between them. I think much more integration of our education at all levels into our mental health services would mean for much faster outcomes. Our mental health services are under enormous pressure because we can't get enough people to work in them. So we've got to look at that. Why are we are training an awful lot of people, but they're heading away? What's driving them away, and how do we get them back and to bring their expertise into the system?
That's correct.
What do we also do around the systems within both mental health and disabilities? How can we take the professions out of the administration side of it and let them focus on the person? Let them focus on the patients, on the clients, on the people that need treatment, and come up with using technology to manage all the administration and free up that amazing professional resource to mind the person.
Yeah, because you find the people that work in these services, they're the best in the world.
Absolutely.
Any of the people that I come across working in disability services and community-based programs, their heart is, the reason they're in those roles is because they have care and compassion in their hearts for other people. And they care about equality.
Yeah. And they want to bring people on their journey of recovery. I think one of the great things I've seen in my time in politics is that we're talking more about mental health. We're discussing it more. We're much more open. But I think still there's a whole generation of people that don't want to talk about it. And we have to still work on that, still talk about that. And we have to treat, and you know, if somebody, I always say, if there's a physical illness in a family or to a friend, everybody rallies around and everybody supports. Yeah. We've got to get to that situation around mental health. The people are there to support, that the metal that we're so good at comes around the person in every circumstance. But definitely we're focused on how we get more professions into the system, how we address the waiting lists, and it's breaking down silos. There are too many silos in government, and in permanent government in particular. One department does this, another department does this, and they don't talk.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all that is a person. In the middle of all that is a family that's getting lost because there's these silos. Silos are getting in the way of people, and they need to be broken down.
I agree. And do you know what? That's a really interesting point, and I'd actually be very interested in your opinion on it. I think that's probably one of the failings of government, that a lot of things are handed out to, we have huge amount of charities and NGOs in the country that do incredible work. Of course they do, but it seems like there's an awful lot of people trying to do the same thing but rowing their own boat. And we could nearly use the idea of the dragon boat down here, where you have 16 people sitting in rowing the one way, and it moves smoothly through the water. Yep. It's much harder, and I think we spend an awful lot of energy and money all trying to do the right thing, all trying to do the same thing, but not coherently working together.
Yeah, in many cases money isn't a challenge, but it's how that money is spent. It's actually a brilliant analogy. You know, when you think of the dragons and the challenges many of them have been through, and that they've come on and coming together in this common purpose, I think that's what we need to do. As I said, break down those silos, put everyone rowing in the one direction, because we all want to get to the one place. which is better services, more responsive services, more personalised services, because everybody's journey is different. And there's too many people in 16 different boats rather than 16 people in the one boat.
That seems to be the case.
Let's get to maybe not the one boat, to 2 or 3 boats rather than 16. And then you're not going to lose a passenger.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose someone in the middle of it. Somebody's not going to fall off the boat, because we are losing people. We're losing.
We are.
The silo way of doing things means that people are getting caught, families are getting caught, they're not getting the services. And I have to say, that's something still a frustration.
And the same as, because I work in the area, and you see this, you see the issues when, say, a young person moves over the age of 18 and the services change, and the failings in the likes of loads of different incidences of those. But like, it is fixable.
It
completely
certainly
is fixable.
I never
that's
lose
the thing.
that hope. I never lose that belief. It is completely fixable. And that's, you know, the person that turns 18, your condition doesn't change because your age changes, but the whole way you're treated does. And, you know, we that's why we need personalised, you know, attention, personalised care. That when Dara turns 18, he doesn't, you know, there's not this lacuna of treatment, that he doesn't once again fall between the silo, between being a teenager and between over 18. So many people are caught that way as well. So, but absolutely can be fixed. And I think we're getting there. We're having the good conversations, people like yourself out there, people like the organisations out there challenging politics to do that. And I think, you know, I passionately believe it can be fixed. But
I certainly do.
We've got to challenge the system too.
Well, you can see it getting fixed too in places. So just from a youth justice perspective, the strategy from 2023 even, they started to incorporate the 18-24-year-olds, which was looked at like a harder to reach, but identified an area that even if a young person is struggling up to the age of 18, that the services cannot then stop. That predominantly we'll be working with people that are either involved or at risk of being involved in crime, and to just say at 18, sorry, the door is closed,
no,
all of that work can be thrown away and wasted. So at least you can see the twist, the change here, where it has been identified, it has been flagged, and now we do have that 18-24 cohort. We also see that, I think, implementation is the biggest issue, certainly in mental health services, but again, we can start to see the change. Jigsaw have been drawn to the work of implementation on the schools programme, something that wasn't happening for the last number of years. Now, I know we were doing it in Mayo at Mayo Mental Health Association, but I mean, nationally, there was nobody keeping an eye on the implementation of an incredibly important programme that was being run in our secondary schools.
Yeah. And I think now that we have someone keeping an eye on it, it'll go for national consistency, you know, rather than having one different outcome in the school in Ballina, a completely different outcome in the school in Castlebar. There'll be national consistency. And that's for the better of everyone. It's better for all the you know, the people that are going to be treated in it. You know? I
think so. And just to run back, I suppose, I want to talk to you a little bit about party, especially for the younger cohort again, who I feel anyway, and I've said it before, are more person-based than they are party-based. But of course it's important. There's reasons why people step into parties. There's reasons why people support certain parties. I don't have a whole pile of knowledge on it, and I don't think many people do. So I'd be really interested to hear your opinion on it. In particular, I'd actually like to bring people back to when we had the dreaded COVID. And I remember there was an incident inside the party where there was an event held, and certain people said certain things, whatever. I remember it very, very well, purely because of your response to it. And again, it's probably the reason I'm talking to you. It's probably the reason I hold you in such high regard, was the integrity. It was something that happened that shouldn't have happened. A lot of people were very, very quick to deny and close the door. In fairness to you, credit where credit's due, you really showed a level of integrity that day by standing up and acknowledging the mistake and actually paying a fairly significant price for it at the time. But it said an awful lot about your character. It said an awful lot about your person. And I think, personally, it was an excellent decision and a real showing of true character, which we don't see from a lot of people a lot of the time, especially in social realms. We want to be seen to follow suit. So I want to give you credit for that, and I also want to give you the opportunity to expand on that and explain why you're in the Fianna Fáil party, what they believe in, what their function is, and why they're different to the rest.
So look, I suppose going back to that event, I went to an event to speak at it. I was being asked to speak at it, and it was just in between lockdowns.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think properly through it, and by going to it, I upset an awful lot of people who couldn't go to events, who, you know, couldn't do family events, family funerals in particular, and that just, I let people down in it. And I think it was important to show that I had done that. And I also, at the time in August 2020, we were still in some of the earlier stages of COVID. We were still battling it. If I had, you know, tried to battle it out or that, I think we would have affected the national effort to fight it at the time. So it was important to put my hand up and say, I messed up here. I could use an unparliamentary word, but and to take responsibility for my action. But I was very, and I think for everybody to face the challenge in life, don't let one challenge define your life. Don't let one setback define you. It's how you respond to the setback. And every time something does happen, there's always a context, or there's always a few years' time you look back at it and think, how did I respond to that? And
Yeah.
I really remember dear friends of ours who called to see us after that happened, and they said to me, you'll be fine. It's outside the house.
Fair
And
point.
I thought to myself, that was really became my mantra for, it was difficult. I have no illusions on that front. It was difficult personally, you know, but Siobhan, my wife, we just battled on, got dealt with that, but it was outside the house. A lot of people go through a lot worse challenges than that. And I think that was a really good mantra for me at the time, and it kind of got me through that few weeks and months, but I was determined not to let it define me.
Yeah, and it didn't. And your response, credit where credit's due. If I would have absolutely no problem slating you either, and I think you know that.
Yeah.
It just showed a man of integrity, and you know what? It was the right response.
Yeah, you know, I'd let people down. I think it was important to acknowledge that. But then
We
I
all
was
do.
also determined to get back, and to get back, you know, career-wise, to get my position back at the cabinet table, which I'm nearly there with it, and I still want to be back there fully. And also I kept working and delivering to the county. You know, we were able to work on a lot of projects and deliver to the county over that time. The context of Fianna Fáil then, you know, I'm a member of Fianna Fáil since I was in college. Even before that, my dad was a TD, as was my grandfather, so I've very much grown up in the party.
Yeah.
It's a Republican party, and so republicanism is a number of different things politically. It's obviously on an island basis. I want to see United Ireland.
Yeah.
Very, very passionate about that. Our island is small, and it's not doing us any good to have it divided. You know, from the conversation we just had on services, you know, in terms of all Ireland approach to things, we should be together anyway.
I think so.
You know,
and I feel everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
And no matter what political party you're in, I would struggle to find very few people that don't feel that
The important
way.
thing is that we work towards it, that we can't demand it. We have to bring people with us on this journey, because that's one of the things we've maybe got wrong over the years, that we alienated. There is a significant proportion of the population there that don't want it, and we have to persuade, and we have to work with them, and not set unrealistic timelines. This has to happen at this date. You work with people, you bring them with you. You know, one of the great things that Micheál Martin has done is the Shared Island initiative, that we are on this island and we share the island, and we build up confidence, we build up resources. Shared island around investment, shared island around services.
Yeah.
You know, somebody, for instance, I always say, somebody with a health condition in Strabane has the same challenges as somebody in Lifford. The only problem is there's a border between the two that gets in the mix for different treatments. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Small island. The notion of connectivity on the island. There's so many reasons, and Fianna Fáil is the Republican Party committed to United Ireland. But republicanism is about liberty. It's about equality. It's about fraternity. It's about the old French idea of republicanism. Is something that really drives me, which is really interesting given the French connections in this area. And, you know, General Humbert and all of that kind of French tradition is something that really, it's one of my mantras, and that I applied in a lot of areas in terms of equality, in terms of fraternity, in terms of people coming together to work for a common purpose. That's another reason I'm in the party. I mean,
Thanks.
Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you. That's another reason. I think we've delivered a lot over the years. We've delivered some big things: free education, come back to education, that's really, really important to give opportunities to people in the country that never had it. Infrastructure, very focused. And I feel I can work through Fianna Fáil to deliver on infrastructure, to deliver on investment and enterprise. And that's why, have we work to do? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
As a party, we have a lot of work to do, and continuously it keeps you on your toes in terms of delivery. But we were the party that delivered on housing through the 30s, 40s, 50s, and I think we can be the party that delivered on it again right now.
Well, that's the big question, and like the question is, do the people of Ireland come Friday, do they want to, I suppose, afford the opportunity again to the current government? Do they want to see change? What does that change look like? Because it's not just black and white, as you know. Some people, I think, tend to feel like it is. It's very much one or the other. It's not essentially that. It can be an amalgamation. It can be, we really don't know. But I think it's fair to say people are frustrated at certain things, certain styles like the cost of living being one in particular. I suppose if I'm just going from the brain, thinking the cost of living certainly is a challenge and significant one. Another one would be, in particular, a lot of our young people leaving, a lot of our skilled young people deciding to head off. And I know that happens, at different stages, but I think it needs to be addressed. I think there's something fundamentally wrong if we're in one of the wealthiest countries.
Hey.
If we're in one of the wealthiest countries in the world and we have people wanting to leave and struggling to sustain the cost of living, there's an issue.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying I know the answer, but there's certainly a problem that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely, and we are losing a lot of really good people. Like all of the discussions we're having in terms of services, and that we're losing people that could be working in services, working in apprenticeships. I think one of the things to do, and that is housing. Now we need to provide more housing and reduce the cost of housing. That's one of the big drivers of the cost of living.
And how does that happen? Just for a layman like myself, I understand we can say that we need more houses, we need them to be affordable. How does that actually happen?
So we increase the supply. We're not building anything near the kind of houses we need. In Ireland this year we'll do probably around 40,000 or so housing. So that's between houses and apartments. We need to be definitely up around 60. So if you look at here, like we only have limited new family homes being built that are available, and the more supply there is, the price will come down. Second thing we need to look at is the cost. How much you're paying for your bricks, how much you're paying for your slates, how much you're paying for the stuff that's going in to build a house. That has gone too high in Ireland, and we have to look at how we reduce that. Is it through taxation, reducing the VAT, or is it through other, looking at prices everywhere in Ireland are much higher. Now there's extra costs because we're in Ireland. It takes more to get in here. But across a lot of systems, we have to look at why are companies charging more here than they are, say, in England. There's not that much of a difference between us.
No, there's not.
And one of the things we're focused on in Fianna Fáil is putting up a consumer commission that will be focusing on what you're paying for your food, what you're paying for your transport, what you're paying for your energy. Families are paying too much in this country. Compared to other countries, and we need to understand why, and we need to act to try and address that. I think if we give more housing opportunities, bring down the cost of living, and then look at the kind of services we just talked about, making services much easier for people to access and breaking down those silos, they're all part of getting people home again. People will travel.
Of course they will.
Travel,
yeah.
But I want them to come home.
And it's a wonderful opportunity that people can travel the way they can.
But we want them to come home.
Of
bring
course
the experience of travel home and challenge us with that experience, challenge the system, challenge politicians to change things here for the better. If they are for the better. Sometimes, the old phrase about faraway hills and all that is very true. But I do want people to come home. We're not going to address any of the issues we've just spoke about. Will not be addressed unless we get people home, unless we get people to stay here and bring their life skills, bring their education, bring their zest for life to living here.
Yeah, I don't think it's drastic change in any area. I think it's like an amalgamation of a number of twitches, just little tweaks in the way things are done, and they all complement each other. As you said, if you can get people back, then you've got more people to work. All of those things complement each other, and we certainly want them back. The cost of living may be significantly high, but the quality of life in Ballina and North Mayo, it's unbelievable. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I've said it, pop over to Dublin to do a couple of bits and pieces. Not for love nor money. Like, it's an absolutely incredible place to live over here.
Look at this. I mean, this is a Tuesday morning in November. Here we are walking through this beautiful woods. You can just hear
It's what it's all about.
Around you.
Yeah.
And even if it was raining, you'd still be here, you'd be covered, you'd be protected. Like, we are absolutely blessed to have it. And maybe we need to love it a bit more. Maybe we need to actually say to ourselves, we live in a bloody great town. Excuse my language. We live in a great part of the country. And we need to say it more. And there's huge challenges, don't get me wrong, and I'm working on them every day. But I really think we need to own our space, own our place, shout to the roost that we're proud to live here.
Because it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful community. It's in Ballina itself, I think it is an incredible community. I'm so fortunate to work in different groups, in different sectors, to see the work that people put in. It's the community work, it's the volunteer hours, it's the helping out a neighbour is what makes this place as magical and all as it is. And Mayo the same. Again, the people of Mayo collectively united are phenomenal. We see that in the support that they give our football team and all across the sectors. It's an incredible place.
There's a wonderful Irish phrase, mehel. And mehel is coming together with common purpose. Like, what we've talked about, everybody in that one boat. And, Ballina and Mayo were renowned for mehel, putting on the jersey and coming together. And yeah, we'll have differences and we'll have different approaches, but when the chips are down, we get together and we back each other up. And I think that we can never lose that. Let's never lose that, because it's priceless.
It is. Couldn't agree more, in fairness, especially when you look around. And again, I suppose something that's maybe worth highlighting is that we are in a transitional period. Come Friday, the power is handed back to the people. It is it's our chance to sit down, make our decisions, and collectively come together, as you said, and make a decision that will obviously have a huge bearing and influence over the next number of years in the country. What's your message to anybody going out to vote on Friday? What is your message to them?
Can I give you a general message first?
Of course.
Not please vote.
Listen,
I just say to everybody, no matter who you vote for, obviously I'd like you to vote for me and I'll come to that. Please vote.
Yeah.
Because that's just over 100 years ago, 102, 103 years ago, and I've been speaking to Leaving Certs in the last few weeks and bringing this point home to them. People, 19, 20, 21, 22, put their lives on the line for our right to vote this Friday. For us to take 20 minutes of our life to go and vote in our local school. People are willing to put their life on the line. Loads of Ballina people, loads of Mayo people did that for us. So just, people say, oh, it's a Friday, it's near Christmas, there's so much on. 20 minutes is all you need to give. Then obviously I'd like you to vote for me. I
hope you'd be advocating for yourself.
I'm really passionate about politics. I know people are cynical about politics, and I'm actually passionate about it, and I believe it works. I believe it delivers. I believe it. We make mistakes, absolutely. We've spoken about that. But politics makes a difference. It makes a change in people's lives. We try and improve people's lives. We try and help people. We try and improve our communities. And I'm so privileged and fortunate to be part of that. And I'm looking for the right to wear the jersey again. I was never a sports person like yourself, has uses in that space. But I put the jersey on in politics. I put the jersey on the doll. And I play hard. I put the elbows out when we need to for delivery. I put the studs on when we need to. But I also play as a team, because regardless of parties, the 5 of us will be elected on Friday for Mayo. We need to work together as well. And I've always been very, very conscious of working together. Political rivalry comes into it, obviously.
Of course.
But we're teams as well. So it's like you, club rivalry is there, but when you put the Mayo jersey on, you work together.
It's hard to like everybody, but you have to work together.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's actually
3 years
yeah.
battling against each other,
You
and
don't
then you
have to
come
like
together.
them, but we can all work together.
Of course,
you know.
of course.
And and there'll be times where it may not be possible to work together, but by God, make the effort.
Yeah. Look, that piece, please go out and vote. Just
Absolutely.
go out and vote.
You know,
I remember being 18 and not really caring about it a whole pile either, and getting a good telling. It is, and we forget that. And again, we're very, very quick to forget
so many countries
things.
today that would love the chance. So many people in so many countries to actually quiz their politicians, to meet their politicians, to meet their candidates. They love the notion of there actually even being an election.
To live in a democracy.
You have the chance
fortunate
to
enough.
throw the questions. You have the chance to change the government. You have the chance to listen to debates and make your call. And literally all you have to do in return is 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I think especially the idea of like, oh, it's just one vote. I think kind of that's something people tell themselves. It's just one vote. It won't make a difference. And as we know, collectively, if we all take that approach, then nobody, of course it has an impact. But for me, it's a small country. There's not too many of us. So there's even more power in your vote. I feel like there's an awful lot of power in your vote on Friday, considering the population. It's not a huge country.
No, just one vote can decide a lot of things. We saw the council elections back in June. We saw 2-3 council seats decided by less than 6 votes. In the Swinford area, just one vote makes a difference.
Of course it does.
I have seen seats come down to 4 votes. All seats come down to 4 votes. The pattern of government changed because of a few different votes. Your vote does make a difference. Your vote is important. And obviously, I want people to give me the number one, but regardless, just please vote.
Get out and vote, yeah. And it's a great message, in fairness. Something, again, I'm picking from, I suppose, some of the conversations I have in general. I don't go around having overly political conversations with people, but topics come up and they're well worth discussing. Another, I suppose, common thread people will say is politicians, doesn't really matter a whole pile. They may be in different parties, they may say different things, they're all going to do the same thing.
No. I think I think actually one of the good things about Ireland at the moment is that we're moving into a more, there's more choice now in politics in terms of, I'd see my party is very, pro-enterprise, pro-building the economy, but not for the sake of the economy, because a strong economy means we have the resources to invest in health, invest in mental health, invest in education, invest in apprenticeships, invest in infrastructure. It's a cause rather than an ambition. There are other parties who would see all about spending and not focus on the enterprise. So I genuinely think there is offers and there is things on offer now. And I know a lot of the media operations have apps now that you can put in your views and put in your beliefs, and they will guide you towards whatever party aligns to those beliefs. And I'd encourage people to do that as well, so that if that encourages you to vote and come out and vote, then that's a good thing. So I think a lot of the media organisations have that app now.
Yeah.
That you can put in your thoughts, these are my concerns, and it'll direct you or guide you towards, what party stands for that.
Yeah. Do you, in the same line of thinking, I suppose, do you think, is there too much, how are you? Do you think there's too much of a government overreach into areas? Or do you feel that there's a demand for more of a bigger government, more involvement in the government in local?
I think more people need to be involved. So I think one of the worst things that we had one of the worst things that happened was we lost our town council here. I'd like to see our town council back, that Ballina would have its town council, because that means local people will have a direct involvement in the direction of the town and the direction of facilities. That's something that's missing. We're missing a layer of democracy. I do think we need to give more power to local government. We pulled a lot of power back in the 90s away from local government because of planning issues at the time, because of historical issues. I think it's time to have confidence once again in local government and the people that we represent as the local government. We're very lucky. We've super people as local councillors. We also need to give more budgets so that they can actually decide locally, rather than have it sent down from Dublin, what gets spent. So they make their local priorities. Every 5 years there should be the budgets to do it. Um,
And that's exactly what I wanted to touch on, really. It's going back to what we said earlier, that the answers are in the community. If there's an issue regarding Ballina, or if there's an issue regarding Mayo, the consultation is to be done in them areas. The answers are to come from them areas, to empower people more so than take the power away and as you said, kind of hand it down.
No.
It's not the way forward. And it feels like, I think we're caught there, yeah. I feel like there should be more empowerment of communities themselves. I think a bit more power should be handed back
a bit more
to
say
local authorities and community.
Local power to local authorities, definitely. And it also comes back to what we were discussing earlier, that there's so many different organisations doing the same job. And, you know, because of the silo way, things are getting caught and people are getting lost. That's happening as well. There's a lot of difference. So the council is doing a job, the development companies are doing a job. We're all kind of doing the same job, but we're all rowing different boats.
Yep.
And we're rowing against each other. And the collective power of all that work is being lost because we're all rowing separately. So I think the more we row together, the more we agree on the ambition, and that ambition should be community led, and there should be community participation in that ambition. I think the better the outcome. It's all about ownership.
Yeah.
If community owns things, the community will buy into things.
That's what you need. You do need the buy-in, and that's what does make things work. It's absolutely beautiful down here. I keep getting caught out of conversation and caught by the river. I suppose I think we've covered certainly the bulk of kind of what I wanted to talk about, and I suppose the reason why we're having these conversations is I think it's really important that people are well informed. That's all. I am personally interested, of course, but I want to provide a little bit of access to information for people, because it is challenging to get the right information. A lot of it is pointing and shouting and, you know, arguing against the other side or making things out to be a certain way, trying to paint a certain picture. And that's not really, I suppose, what people want, especially in the lead up to election. We want to make informed decisions. That's what we want. We want to know actually what's happening, what's going on, and what people are kind of promising to do. I touched on your integrity earlier on, and that's why I'm very interested to hear about what you want to do going forward, because I do believe that if the 29th goes well, that you'll follow through on those things. So final words to yourself before we close off and enjoy the rest of the woods. Is there any message you want to get out there before the 29th? Is there anything in particular you just want to say to people of Ballina or Mayo?
To people that I absolutely love this town. I love this county, and as I said, I think it's good. I was going, you know, I love being able to put on the jersey and represent. I'm really ambitious. I'm ambitious personally and professionally, but that ambition is for the county and for the town. How we can develop facilities, how we can make it easier for families to live here, how we can make it address the cost of living issues. You know, and the great thing about an election is you actually get out and you hear directly from people in a way you may not in between elections, because people aren't in focus on it. But during election they are, and lots of challenges. Lots of stories in the last 2 weeks I want to act on and help families, help individuals who are in tricky spots. We do that. I'm very lucky. We have a great office here with Angie and Liam. We work collectively together. We've worked with thousands of people in the last 4 years to get them through sticky spots. We want to continue to do that. We have big plans for the town. New hospital, new minor injuries unit. And it might sound like a slogan, but it's not. It's about making Ballina at the heart of things and making people's lives a bit easier. You shouldn't have to go to Castlebar or Sligo if you have a fall or a trip or a small break. You know, we used to be able to do that in Ballina when I was a kid. We will be again. And rebuild the hospital, rebuild things to get people into the area, to spend in the area, to spend time in the area. I'm focused on that as well. It's a huge privilege. And there isn't a day that I don't walk into Leinster House, into the Dáil, and say, I am lucky. I'm very lucky and very fortunate to walk in these halls representing the people of Mayo, and given the tradition behind me and those who went before me, and I want to stay there.
Very good. I like it. Well,
sorry, out of breath now after all that walking.
Yeah, it's been a lovely morning, if nothing else. I just want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know, look, we cross paths in so many areas. Your wonderful wife has inspired my daughter into the Irish language.
I'm very lucky to have an amazing wife.
Yeah, and I can speak to that. Fair play to her.
Who puts up with a lot, and you know, she's very much part of this journey with me as well. and she's canvassing every night as well, and but she loves her job, and she's very much her own person, and that's she's very, very lucky.
Yeah, and so look, as I said, it's great to have a bit of time to chat. I'm sure we'll be doing bits and pieces of work together regardless.
Either way,
over the next number of years.
That's one thing. Regardless of what happens on Friday Party, I'll still be involved. I'll still be passionate about this town. Like, I mean, how could you not be? Look at this. And even on the rainy days, I'm passionate about this town. I'm passionate about this county, what we can do for it. But a day like today, it just inspires you. If you're in any way feeling we're coming towards the end of a long campaign, and you're kind of, oh, geez, we're nearly there, that drives you on. Yeah,
there you go. If nothing else, this has been an incredible advertisement for the town of Ballina, I think. So, look, that's a wrap from us, I think. Said, I wish you the best on the 29th. Of course I do. I hope it goes well for you. Look forward to seeing the outcome. And to be honest, I look forward to the next number of years. I'm full of hope. Personally, we live in a lovely country. We live in an incredible country, really. We'll give out. We'll do a lot of giving out. I do a lot of giving out too. It's easier, and it's easier to see the issues. But when you take a step back, do you know what? It's an incredible country. It's an incredible county. We're very, very fortunate to be in the position we are. So we'll finish on that note. I think a touch of gratitude for Ballina, for Mayo, and for Ireland in general. So, as I said, best of luck. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and the walk through Beleak Woods. If you get the chance, please get out and vote Friday the 29th.